I'm Christy McDonald. And joining me now is Dana Debel. She's the Director of State and Local Government Affairs for Delta Airlines. Dana, it's good to see you.
It's great to be here. Thanks so much.
So how have you found the conference so far? Had some good conversations, I bet.
There are always great conversations had up at this conference. I always tell people there's the official conference and then there's the unofficial conference, and they're both great. I mean, the programming going on inside the theater has been fantastic, but the work that gets done out here in the parlor and on the porch is so valuable.
And people talk about, okay, we need to get the state, we need to get our legislators on the same page, we need to get our business on the same page, and actually Delta has been able to do that with something talking about open and fair skies and protecting airline jobs. Talk a little bit about that.
So today we released support for the Partnership for Open and Fair Skies from groups around the state of Michigan, and you're right, we have support for this issue from 13 members of the congressional delegation. We have an effort being led in the U.S. Senate by Gary Peters with the support of Senator Stabenow. We have support of Delta Airlines, United, American, our affiliated labor unions, including the Airline Pilots Association and the Flight Attendants Association. And then in the state, we have the 4 legislative quadrant leaders, we have the mayor of Detroit, we have city council, we have the governor, we have local electeds, we have business, we have like the Detroit Chamber on board, so
it's
we
amazing
really
to
have
get
everybody.
everyone really on the same page. So what's the crux of this issue?
So this issue is, in the airline world, there are these things called open skies agreements. And open skies agreements are basically bilateral agreements between the U.S. and another country. And they say that any U.S. airline can fly from any place in the United States to that other country, and any airline from that other country can fly to any place in the United States. And the premise of them is that they're basically supposed to be free from government interference. And we have over 100 of these in that the United States has signed, and in the vast majority of cases we have no problem, but we have an issue with 2, and that's with Qatar and UAE. And what we have learned is that in the last 10 years, the airlines of those states, those countries, have been subsidized to the tune of about $42 billion. And so what we have asked, and what this coalition that I just talked about is asking for, is to open up consultations, for the U.S. government to open up consultations with these countries to try to, level the playing field, if you will. Give us a chance to compete on a level playing field with these carriers, get the subsidies out.
And that could really impact jobs and workers. Here.
It absolutely, and that's why we've been able to get such strong support for this. For every flight that a U.S. carrier loses to one of these Middle East carriers, we lose 820 U.S. jobs, and these are good-paying, middle-class jobs. That allow people to have long careers in the aviation world.
We talk about business and growing business here in Michigan, and I'm sure at Delta you can see the trends more than anyone because you're a hub here, and people who are coming back and forth and coming into the state to do business. How have you seen things grow in the last 3 or 4 years?
We have seen Detroit has always been a strong market for Delta Airlines. It's our second biggest hub in the network. We have roughly about 450 flights a day that we operate to about 130 destinations direct. Detroit is Delta's East Coast gateway to Asia, with daily service to Shanghai and Beijing and Seoul and Japan. And we have always had a strong market here, and we are so grateful to the Detroit community and the Michigan community for the support that we've received from them over the years.
And I have to tell you, we talked a little bit earlier before we went on camera about the safety videos that you guys have been changing up here. My kids love to watch them, but I just have to add, it's really made kind of watching the safety videos hilarious, and that was a bit of a change by Delta to make people pay attention a little bit more.
That's exactly it. We said, we've got to get people to pay attention to these. How can we do it? And so, our team has come up with funny safety video after funny safety video. We keep changing them up to keep people engaged, and I'm glad you enjoy them.
Dana, what do you expect to take off the island this year? A couple of key things.
I think that what I'm really interested in is the discussion that I think is occurring both sort of officially and unofficially around transportation funding. We are very interested in making sure that we make Michigan more competitive for aviation, and that we bring ourselves in line with federal guidance around aviation fuel taxes. So I'm really looking at the conversation on transportation funding, which was largely focused on roads, but looking at that and seeing if, some progress can be made.
All right. Dana Debel from Delta, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.